Hi, once again, welcome to the BCC program, Basic Concepts in Chemistry. We are going to have the 8th lecture, and that will be just after the mole concept. In the last 2 lectures, we discussed the elementary mole concept, how mole is a very, very important tool, accounting tool, unit to simplify the calculations involved in chemical reactions. We are not yet in that stoichiometry calculations where we shall be using our knowledge of mole concept to solve the problems, numericals, very, very easily. But before we do so, let us try to learn what is equivalent concept and what was its necessity. When mole concept was so popular in solving chemical calculations, chemical numericals, chemical arithmetic, so what was the need to have another mass called equivalent mass? Let's try to unravel the historical background and the fascinating aspects of equivalent concept that is only used in chemical reactions, chemical processes. Right? So focus on what I'm saying and what we'll be doing in this program for about 1 hour. So to define equivalent mass of an element, equivalent mass, this is part 1. Only we shall be developing the concepts. That is for elements, only elements, not for mostly for compounds. We will develop the concept for elements, and then in equivalent mass concept 2, we shall be using different types of compounds used for non-redox reactions, redox reactions, and so on and so forth, right? So the gram equivalent mass, that means equivalent mass expressed in gram. Gram equivalent mass of an element is the mass, the element is the mass which is the mass which is produced at any electrode, cathode or anode during electrolysis by the passage of 1 mole of electrons. By the passage of 1 mole of electrons. I think we did in our LOC program, we did calculate the total charge of 1 mole of electrons. 1 mole of electrons will have a charge equal to that. I remind you what we did in our previous program. If 1 electron has a charge equal to 1.602 10 to the power minus 19, then 1 mole of electrons. So the total charge approximated to the nearest 500, it will be 96,500 coulomb, and that is the bigger unit of charge, that is Faraday. So by the passage of 1 Faraday of charge in the electrolysis experiment, the amount of a neutral element deposited or liberated at any electrode is called the gram equivalent mass of that element. You understand? By the passage of 1 mole of electrons. That means by the passage of 1 Faraday charge. And equivalent mass concept is applicable to a chemical reactions, both spontaneous as well as non-spontaneous. This is non-spontaneous reaction. Electrolysis, as we know, is a non-spontaneous reaction. But we can also use the equivalent concept to spontaneous reactions. right? Both redox and non-redox. As it can vary for the same substance taking part in different reactions. Equivalent mass concept is applicable only to chemical reaction, both spontaneous and non-spontaneous, and equivalent mass of an element may vary. Same element, same substance undergoing reactions in different situations, giving different products, will have a different equivalent mass. So it's not fixed. The atomic mass of an element is fixed. The molecular mass of a compound is fixed. The ionic mass of an ion is fixed. But their equivalent masses might differ. Let's see to what factor this depends. The variation of equivalent mass depends. Atomic mass, as I have already told you, atomic mass and molecular masses are unchanged and independent of reactions. Elements undergo oxidation and reduction reaction always. Whenever an element is involved either as a reactant or as a product, it is definitely either suffering a loss of electron, that is oxidation, or a gain of electron by the corresponding positive ion to give you the neutral substance. So any reaction involving an element is either an oxidation or reduction. Equivalent masses of elements are used in Faraday's laws of electrolysis. The central idea of the Faraday's laws, if you have not watched my video on LOC, the last video on LOC, that is on Faraday's laws, electrolysis, I'm telling you once again, the central idea behind the laws of Faraday's laws of electrolysis is for the passage of 1 mole of electrons, that is 1 Faraday of charge, during electrolysis, 1 gram equivalent of any substance is produced. Whatever may be the substance, silver, aluminium, oxygen, chlorine, calcium, whatever will be produced, 1 gram equivalent mass of the substance will be produced. Right? Now let us know how to find equivalent mass. And what is that equivalent mass? We now know that 1 Faraday of charge will be responsible for the production of 1 gram equivalent of a substance. Now we are talking the substance is element. Later we will be saying the same concept will be applicable for a substance, maybe for an ion or for a molecule undergoing oxidation or reduction, right? Now, for example, let's say aluminium is involved in a reaction, either spontaneous reaction where aluminium is dissolved in an acid or any stronger metallic salt, or in an acid forming aluminium ion Al3+, so that is spontaneous. But here aluminium 3+ is gaining 3 electrons to become aluminium is non-spontaneous. That takes place in electrolysis, right? Whatever may be the case, whether it is a spontaneous, that is dissolution of aluminium in a dilute acid, or it is the deposition of aluminium in an electrolysis experiment, the electrolysis of molten alumina, for example. Now, 3 electrons are gained by 1 aluminium ion to form 1 aluminium atom. So therefore, 3 moles of electrons are gained to produce 1 mole of aluminium. 1 mole of aluminium means 1 gram atomic mass, that is 27 gram. If 3 moles of electrons are involved in 1 mole of aluminium generation or 1 mole of aluminium discharge, then 1 mole of electrons or 1 Faraday of charge is involved in the production of 1/3 of this, because 3 moles are responsible for 1 mole of aluminium, that is 27 gram. So 1 mole of electrons is responsible for the production of 1/3 moles of aluminium. So 27/3, 9. So 9 grams of aluminium will be formed when 3 Faraday of charge is passed, or 3 moles of electrons are gained. Or conversely, 3 moles of 3 moles of electron or 3 Faraday of charge will be produced when aluminium spontaneously dissolves. 1 mole of aluminium spontaneously dissolves. The opposite reaction, what we have written, right? So 9 is the equivalent mass of aluminium. Then what is 9? It's atomic mass by valency. That is the number of electrons lost or gained, right? Similarly, for example, in most cases, oxide ion, for example, gives oxygen, or oxygen gives oxide ion. In any reaction, oxygen is produced. Then forget about, 2 oxygen atoms, they form diatomic molecule. So you forget about. You are only thinking about the production of oxygen atom in the elemental state, right? 2 electrons are involved. So for 2 moles of electrons are lost to produce 1 mole of oxygen atoms, that is 16 gram, right? So if 2 moles of electrons are involved for the formation of 1 mole of oxygen, then 1 mole of electrons or 1 Faraday will definitely produce half mole of oxygen, that is 16 by 2, 8 gram. So in most of the cases, the equivalent mass of oxygen is 8 when it is -2 when the oxygen acquires an oxidation state of -2. But not always the case with if it becomes peroxide or superoxide where its oxidation state is different, then we cannot say that equivalent mass of oxygen is always 8. It is 8 in most of the cases, right? So from this what we know? We know now that equivalent mass is nothing but the atomic mass of an element divided by valency, the valency factor. Or more correctly, it is atomic mass divided by the number of electrons gained or lost per atom. If you take molecule, then you have to take molecular mass and you have to take all the electrons. For example, you take 2O2 minus, giving you O2 and 4 electron. So in that case, you have to take molecular mass, O2, 32 by 4, same 8. So I always suggest that for elements, you take atomic mass and look for only one atom. How many electrons are lost or gained per one atom? Need not take the molecule, right? So for a general sense, for a common student, the formula for getting equivalent mass of an element is atomic mass by the valency factor, or more correctly, atomic mass by the number of electrons lost or gained per atom, or atomic mass divided by change in oxidation number per atom. Same thing, from 0 to +3 or from +3 to 0. The change is 3. So that is the valency factor. So valency factor sometimes called X factor. Don't confuse with the X factor. You have a X factor. You are a prolific singer. That is your X factor. It's not that. Valency factor is called X factor. Sometimes it is called N factor. That is dependent on the actual reaction taking place and can be variable also for an element showing variable oxidation state. While the atomic mass is constant, but the valency factor can vary, so also equivalent mass of an element can vary. So it is all reaction dependent, right? So we shall be slowly and steadily learn what is the importance of equivalent concept. Now, for example, sodium, only 1 electron will be lost or gained. So the valency factor is 1. So same atomic mass is same as equivalent mass of sodium is same as its atomic mass. But for calcium, the valency is 2. So 40 by 220 is the equivalent mass of calcium. And for aluminium, the valency factor is 3. We just discussed the logic. If 3 moles of electrons are gained by gained to form 1 mole, 27 grams of aluminium, then 1 mole of electron or 1 Faraday of charge will will involve the production of 1/3 the molecular, gram molar mass, that is 1/3 of 27.9 gram. And if it is hydrogen, 1 by 1, or more correctly 1.008 by 1 is equal to 1.008. And chlorine, same 35.5, the average atomic mass by 1, because chlorine will gain 1 electron. Its valency is 1, right? Most of the time it forms chloride. I'm talking of chloride. Don't confuse with chlorine acquiring some positive oxidation states. I'm not saying about that. Similarly, oxygen, normally the number of electrons lost or gained is 2 to form a normal oxide, or a normal oxide converting to oxygen. So the valency factor is 2 most of the time, so it is 8 most of the time, but it can vary. So number of gram equivalent, just like we have moles and we have a short notation MOL. Similarly, the number of equivalents, we can call it gram equivalents or simply equivalents, and the short notation is EQ, and if it is plural, EQS. Number of moles, as if we are saying MOL, that is a short notation, and this equivalence is a long word, so we shorten this to EQ, and the plural is EQS, equivalents. We say as equivalents but write as EQS, and most of the time we will be using milliequivalents, because that will be a little bigger numerical value, easily we can handle for calculation, addition and subtraction. So milliequivalents is nothing but 10 to the power minus 3. Milli means 10 to the power minus 3, or divided by 1000 equivalents. As one equivalent is equal to 1000 milliequivalents, so the contrary is if one equivalent is equal to 10 to the power 3 milliequivalent, just like 1 gram is equal to 10 to the power 3 milligram. In the same way, one equivalent is 10 to the power 3 milliequivalent. So 1 milliequivalent is equal to 1 milliequivalent is equal to 10 to the power minus 3 equivalents, right? So with this, let us try to see how an element can have variable equivalent mass. For example, you take this reaction, iron metal reacting with dilute sulfuric acid going to +2 state. So here it is losing 2 electrons. The change in oxidation number is 2. So the valency factor is 2 here, 56 by 2, 28. But the same iron reacting with a strong oxidant, chlorine, will go to +3 state. So the number of electrons lost per atom. Don't look to the stoichiometric coefficients. Forget about that. Absolutely, you are least concerned about balancing and the stoichiometric coefficient. See per atom, I repeat, per atom, what is the change in oxidation number? So 3. So the valency factor is 3 here, and the same iron is having an equivalent mass of 18.67. But here it was 28 by 2. Similarly, copper, giving you at high temperature, it gives cuprous oxide. So it goes from 0 to +1. So the valency factor is 1. So same as its atomic mass. But if it is at a low temperature, you get copper 2 oxide. If you get copper 2 oxide or cupric oxide, then it goes from 0 to +2. So here the metal, the element, the equivalent mass is the atomic mass by 2. So all depends on how many electrons are lost per atom. You understand the logic why? If 2 moles of electrons are lost for 1 gram atomic mass or 1 mole of copper atoms, that is 63.5 grams. So 1 mole of electrons, 1 Faraday charge, that will be involved in the production or discharge reaction of half of 1 mole of electron. So it is gram molar mass by 2 in this case. Now here is some questions for you. You can pause the video now and find for yourself, find the equivalent mass. We have taken this short notation EM of the underlined elements from the reactions or half reactions given. Doesn't matter whether it is a half, this is a half reaction. These 2 are half reactions and these 3 are full reactions. Doesn't matter. We are interested to find out the equivalent mass of cobalt in this particular change, where the number of electrons gained is 3, or the change in oxidation number from +3 to 0, the change is 3. So in this case, equivalent mass will be equal to atomic mass 59 by 3, whatever you find out. And here 2 electrons are involved, so chromium will enjoy an equivalent mass of 52 by 2. You just find out the answer. Here it is forming peroxide, right? It is going from 0 to -1. The change is 1. The change in oxidation number is 1. The change in oxidation number is 1. 0 minus -1. Change, take the mod. Change is 1. So here equivalent mass of oxygen, underlined is oxygen. So 16 by 1, 16. It's not 8. It's not 8 here. Because you have to look to actual for atom how many electrons lost or gained. For atom here 1 electron is gained. So change in oxidation number is 1 here. But here it is superoxide. It is going from 0 to -half. So the change is half. So you have to multiply, the valency factor is half, 16 by half. So it becomes 32, right? Even if it is fraction, doesn't matter. You use that. Even in some species you get an average oxidation state. You use that average oxidation state. For example, here, iron, red hot iron reacts with the superheated steam to produce this magnetic oxide, ferrosulfuric oxide. I'm not balancing it. Not balanced. Not balanced. Right? So let's see, there is no necessity for balancing. We are going to find what is the change in oxidation state per atom of the element, right? In this redox reaction. So 0, it goes to +8 by 3. You can take the average, no problem. Because you know there are 2 plus 2 and 1. 1 plus 2 and 2 plus 3. I'm so sorry. You know about it. The paradoxical oxidation states. Right? So the change is 8 by 3. So the factor, the valency factor, the X factor here, as we sometimes call X factor and N factor, is 8 by 3. So equivalent mass of iron here in this particular reaction is 56 by 8 by 3. It's very interesting. 56 into 3 by 8. This 8 sevens are 56, 7 threes are 21. So here 21, here in other case it was 18. You remember when it was going only to +2, and when it was going only to +3, the equivalent mass was 18.67, and when it is going an average oxidation state of +8 by 3, its equivalent mass is 21. So all depends on the change in oxidation number per atom, because we are now interested in the element. Therefore, I would advise you not to use molecular mass, even if it remains as a diatomic molecule, like oxygen, chlorine and all that. You take atomic mass, and per atom, what is the change in oxidation number, or what is the number of electrons gained or lost, right? Now here there are some questions for you. Calculate the number of equivalents and milli-equivalents in case of the following. Just like find the number of moles and millimoles. Once you find number of equivalents, you can convert it to milli-equivalents. You can multiply by 1000 to get into a lower unit. So can you do that? Let us solve here. I suggest you to pause the video and solve up your own, then come back and tally. I might commit some mistakes. You will point out. Now, ready? Okay. So equivalent mass of calcium, already we know it is 40 by 2, 20. If 20 gram is equal to 1 equivalent or equivalent, so 2 gram is equal to what? It is 1 by 20 into 2. That is equal to 0.1 EQ. And 0.1 EQ means 0.1 into 1000. That is equal to 100 milliequivalents. Right? We are doing in unitary method. And then we still develop the formula, the relationship. Number of EQs is equal to the mass by equivalent mass. That we'll be doing. Right? So similarly, the next one, 7.1 kg of 7.1 kg of chlorine. When I say chlorine, you have to take 35.5. Equivalent mass of chlorine is 35.5 by 1. Don't take 71 and then by 2, same thing. So 35.5. So if 35.5 gram is equal to 1 equivalent, then 7,100 gram will be equal to 1 by 35.5 into 7,100. So whatever will be, it will be EQs, right? That will be the number of EQs, 7,100. It is 7,100 divided by 35.5. So it is 200 equivalents. 200 equivalent means it is 200 into 10 to the power 3. That is 2 into 10 to the power 5 milli equivalents. In the same manner, you proceed to find out the number of equivalents and milli equivalents for 27 gram of aluminium, 1.867 gram of iron. If it is used in the reaction with chlorine, I remind you that the reaction I have already shown you. Iron reacts with chlorine to produce ferric chloride. So the change in oxidation number is 3. So here the equivalent mass of iron is 18.67, 56 by 3. That you have to take. So if 18.67 gram in this reaction is 1 equivalent, then 1.867 gram is how many equivalents? You can do that. Similarly, the last one, 0.3175 gram of copper used in the reaction with conc HNO3. When copper reacts with conc HNO3, it gives copper 2 nitrate. So here the valency factor is 2 plus NO2 plus O2. Right? So here the equivalent mass of copper is 31.75. The atomic mass is 63.5. And whenever you are not getting atomic mass from me, so don't be embarrassed. So you get them from the table, atomic mass table that you already have. So 31.75 will be the equivalent mass. If 31.75 gram is equal to 1 equivalent, so 0.3175 gram is equal to how many equivalents? You can do that. This is simple arithmetic, right? So the slogan that we are going to prove why the equivalent concept came into existence. The erstwhile scientists, they thought of introducing this concept. While the mole concept, The molar mass concept was there. Why it was required? Before I explain, let me sing a song for you. First in flat way, and second in a rhythmic tone, using the 5 notations of the octave. That is C, D, E, F is not used, G, H, A is not used. That's it. C, D, E, not E, I'm sorry, C, D, E, G, A, and B is not used, I'm sorry, B is not used. F and B are not used. I will be singing. First, let me tell you what is that song. All chemical reactions take place in equivalence. All chemical reactions, that is the slogan for which this fascinating concept of equivalent mass came into being, came into its existence, that all chemical reactions take place in equivalence. So, let me sing. All chemical reactions take place in equivalence. All chemical reactions take place in equivalence. That means one equivalent of any reactant will react with one equivalent of the other reactant to produce one equivalent of the product. So, X equivalents of any reactant will react with X equivalents of the other reactant to produce X equivalents of the product, any product. In moles, the ratio between reactants and products often may not be 1:1. Sometimes after balancing you find 2:3, 1:4, 1:5. So that depends on the balancing, the material balance. But in equivalent concept, it is always 1:1. In moles, the ratio between reactants and products may not be 1:1. But in equivalent concept, it is always 1:1. That is the beauty of equivalent concept. So you will be finding this will be mostly required in titrations, in titration experiments where we are carrying out an acid-base reaction or a redox reaction to know the actual concentration, the concentration of the solution, and we will be discussing that in details in our BCC program. Don't worry at all. So let us first learn the concept in elements, then we enter into compounds. Hence, balancing of an equation is not at all required if you deal with a reaction in terms of equivalent. Because one equivalent of A will react with one equivalent of B to give one equivalent of C and one equivalent of D. Right? That is the concept. So all chemical reactions take place in equivalence. That is the music I have created, and now let us prove it. Say aluminium reacts with oxygen to give you, aluminium oxide. Right? So if you balance it and try to find the ratio of the reactants, let us forget about the products. 4 moles of aluminium reacts with 3 moles of, 3 moles of oxygen gas. So if you convert it to mass, 4 into 27 gram of aluminium completely reacts with 3 into 32 because it's a molecule, so molar mass is gram molecular mass, 32. So 4 into 27 gram reacts with 3 into 32 gram. So if you by unitary method find 9 gram will react with how much of oxygen? 1 gram will react with this by this, and 9 gram will be this by this into 9. That I have not done. Here I should have done because I thought you are very sharp guys. So here, that should be 3 into 32 by 4 into 27. That is for 1 into 9. And that will be 9 3s are 23, 27, 3 get cancelled, and 4 8s are, this becomes 8. So 9 gram is 1 gram equivalent or 1 equivalent of aluminium, and 8 is the equivalent mass or 1 equivalent of oxygen. So the slogan, all chemical reactions take place in equivalence. Now see, in terms of mole it is 4:3, but in terms of equivalent it is 1:1. X is to X, Y is to Y. Right? Similarly, let's take this reaction, peroxide reaction. Sodium reacts with oxygen to give you sodium peroxide. Deliberately I have balanced it to show you that in terms of mole it is 2:1. 2 moles of sodium reacts with 1 mole of oxygen. But we will prove that in terms of equivalent 1:1. Now see, 2 into 23 grams, because 1 molar mass is 23, that is gram atomic mass, you know. Molar mass is a general term. So 2 into 23 grams reacts with 1 mole of oxygen gas, that is 32 grams. So if this reacts with this, 1 reacts with how much and 23 reacts with how much? You calculate. 1 will react with 32 by 2 into 23, and 23 will react with this. So 23 get cancelled, and this becomes 16. So here the equivalent mass of sodium is always 23 because it doesn't have a variable valency. But here equivalent mass of oxygen is 16. We know that the valency factor is 1. Oxygen goes from 0 to -1, so the change in oxidation number is 1, so it is 16. So we proved that in this particular reaction the equivalent mass of oxygen is 16. So 1 gram equivalent means 16 gram, so 1 equivalent. Hence this music. What is that? All chemical reactions take place in equivalence. Now see, I have given another aluminium HCl to give you aluminium chloride. In terms of mole, the ratio is 1:3. 2:6 means 1:3. So 2 into 27 gram. Now I have given you the relationship with products. Tell me what mistake I have done. Here 2. Right? So here I wanted to establish that all chemical reactions also takes products into account. One equivalent of the reactant will also produce one equivalent of the product. Right? Now see, we have balanced. 2 into 27 grams produce 3 moles of hydrogen, 3 into 2 grams. So the equivalent mass of aluminium, we know 9. So 1 gram will produce how much? And 9 grams will produce, you will find 3 into 2 by 2 into 27 into 9. So 9 3s are 27, 3 cancel, 2 cancel, that becomes 1 gram. So equivalent mass of aluminium is 9, 1 equivalent mass of hydrogen is 1, so 1 equivalent. So we established all chemical and so on. So even the product formation remains in equivalence with the reactants. You understood? You understood the beauty of equivalent concept, which mole concept coupled with equivalent concept makes the chemical science more fascinating. Now these questions are for you. Prove the equivalent concept in the following reactions between the reactants only. In the other reaction, it will be also giving to find out the relationship between the product and reactant. Now here, this is superoxide. We know that in superoxide, oxygen has an equivalent mass of 32 because the valency factor, X factor was half, 2 was going up, so it was 32. So that will prove 39 will be reacting with 32. And this 39 is 1 gram equivalent of potassium. The valency factor of potassium is 1. Atomic mass is same as equivalent mass. And 32 is the equivalent mass of oxygen. In superoxide formation, where the change in oxidation number per atom is half. So in this way, you will prove, I am not spending time for this, you will prove that in all cases, the ratio may be 2:1, 4:1, 2:3, and here fortunately 1:1. But in case of equivalence, always 1:1. That you can prove first with mole concept. 2 moles, for example, 2 moles of iron, 2 into 56 gram, reacts with 3 into 71 gram. So if this is the relation, 2 into 56 gram reacts with 3 into 71 gram. So what is the equivalent mass of iron? You tell me here. Because iron goes from 0 to plus 3. So the equivalent mass is not 28, it is 18.67. So 18.67 gram will react with 3 into 71 by 2 into 56 into 18.67. And this becomes 3, 3 cancels, and this is exactly 35.5. So 35.5 is the equivalent mass of chlorine always. So this is 1 equivalent and this is also 1 equivalent. So in this way you prove, if you take 1 gram equivalent of one reactant and you try to establish the stoichiometric relationship, you will find that the mass required will be also 1 equivalent, right? You might, some of you might be feeling little hard because we have not yet discussed stoichiometric calculation. If this is the relationship, this many grams reacts with this many grams, so this much will be producing how much? This is unitary method. This is established from the mole concept, from the equation itself. 2, 3. 2 moles means 2 into 56 gram. 3 moles mean 3 into 71 gram. That is the relationship between the reaction, between the two reactants for complete reaction. So, but in our case, we have not taken the whole, we have taken only, for example, 18.67 we'll take. Why 18.67? Because 1 gram equivalent of iron in this particular reaction is 18.67. So, if you find by unitary method, you will find that the answer will be gain 1 equivalent of the other reactant. So in this case, you are required to prove the equivalent concept between the reactant metal and the product H2. Right. You can prove because this is already balanced reaction. It is already balanced reaction. So 56 gram produces 2 gram. This is already balanced. So should we take in the opposite way or this way? And here iron goes from 0 to plus 2. So here the equivalent mass of iron is 28, 56 by 2. So if 56 gram gives 2 gram of hydrogen, then 28 gram will be giving half of it, 1 gram, which is also 1 equivalent of hydrogen. This is 1 equivalent of iron in this reaction, and hydrogen is 1 gram also is 1 equivalent of hydrogen in all reactions. It has no variable valency, only one. Whether it forms hydride or hydrogen ion, whatever, only change of electron, the change in oxidation number per atom is 1. Now, this same thing can be expressed in a relation is called law of equivalence. Masses are directly proportional to their equivalent masses. Masses of substances are directly proportional to their equivalent masses. M1 by M2 is equal to E1 by E2. Mass of any element by mass of any other element is equal to equivalent mass of the first element divided by equivalent mass of the second element. We can prove it in many ways. One of the ways is supposing M1 gram of a substance reacts with M2 gram of the other substance, right? So if M1 reacts with M2, 1 reacts with how much and E1 reacts with how much? E1 is the equivalent mass of the first substance. So it will be M2 divided by M1 into E1. So this is bound to be the equivalent mass of, we already have proved that the music, the song is irrefutable, cannot be challenged. So sometimes in higher stage, we may face difficulty in finding equivalent mass. Therefore, I will suggest you just to abandon equivalent concept and accept mole concept. You will know how powerful will be the mole concept for solving simple problems, particularly involving titrations. We take recourse to the equivalent concept. But for solving very, very huge problems involving multiple reactions in solutions, mole concept is invincible. You cannot encounter with any error. But equivalent concept, though the concept is not wrong, not fallacious, but it may so happen that we find the equivalent mass erroneously. Therefore, we will get a wrong result. But so if this one that we get, the mass of the substance which react or is produced by E1 gram of the first substance. So therefore, this is bound to be the equivalent mass of the second substance. May it be a reactant, may it be a product, right? So E2, if E2 is the equivalent mass of the second substance, so E2 is bound to be equal to this, because we have already sung this music over and over again. Therefore, if E1 is 1 gram equivalent mass of substance A, the other substance what we get by unitary method has to be 1 gram equivalent mass of the other substance. Let's say it is E2. So E2 is equal to this. So by crisscrossing, by rearrangement, we are getting M1 by M2 is equal to E1 by E2. That is the famous law of equivalence. So we shall be using this famous law of equivalence in solving all problems of equivalent mass. Right? Let us see 48 minutes. Right? So in the next video, we shall be talking about how the equivalent masses could be determined experimentally. In earlier times, when there was no mass spectrometer to determine the isotopic atomic masses, then at that time the scientists were first finding out equivalent mass of elements and then valency by using some law. I think we did discuss the Dulong and Petit's law and the law of isomorphism to find the valency, and the VD method also, vapor density method. We shall be looking to the application of VD method later. So by some method we get the valency, correct valency, and then multiply the correct valency with the equivalent mass to get the correct atomic mass. So equivalent mass determination for an element is not nowadays required. So you might ask me, why then we spent about an hour time to talk about equivalent concept, and why did I sing a song? May not be melodious to you, but I think you have liked it. So the reason for spending time is to acquaint you, to impress upon you how the equivalent concept came into existence. Why? because it was found that in particularly I told you, for elements the equivalent mass determination was essential to get atomic masses, the average atomic masses. At that time in 19th century, even in 20th century, mass spectrometers were not used. In 1900 some 33, I don't remember exactly, Aston found out, invented mass spectrometer. Then there was no coming back, returning back. Mass spectrometer becomes so powerful, the resolving power enhanced to such a great extent that we now can find out the atomic mass, the molecular mass, including the isotopic masses. Taking isotopes into account, not the average molecular mass, not the average atomic mass, exact atomic mass. Then we can find the average later, taking the relative abundance into account. Like simple weight average, we can find out the percentage abundance into the isotopic mass plus percentage abundance into isotopic mass plus percentage abundance into isotopic mass by 100. So we know how to find the average atomic mass. So with this, I conclude this session. And next session, we'll be talking about the determination of equivalent mass of elements by different methods. And in all the methods, we'll be using M1 by M2 is equal to E1 by E2. Bye-bye.